Here we are, baby. It is playoff time, and yours truly and the other guy across from me back in the playoffs again. It feels so good. Sorry for the folks that aren't in it. Sucks to suck, but man, it feels like just yesterday we were in where were we drafting? Pepin, Wisconsin, and
Up in Wisconsin, and we
getting
had
all messed up.
people were dancing on pool tables, and it was a great time. But yeah, we are you, myself, and JP, the only three people to make it back to the playoffs from last year. Laska, Leon, and Lostness all took a bunch of L's and didn't make it.
And so you now might have like four in a row, I think, playoff appearances.
Yeah, at least four. No, might be three. I don't know.
But yeah, you've been hanging out there. Obviously, you're everyone's worst enemy right now. No one wants to see the reigning champion with a shot at the Empire Pot in the playoffs. We did avoid getting you a bye, which is a big deal. And we did the same thing to Alaska last year, I believe, when he was defending his title. We were able to kick him out of the bye spot, and that
Yeah,
proved to be good.
I kicked his ass in back-to-back weeks.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you. And you were just bringing up a scenario about how something that I did kept you out of the bye. Um, I won a couple close matchups in a row down the stretch.
Yeah, well, you and I have been battling for the points title for quite a few weeks here. Even when you were putting up big numbers, I was putting up good weeks too. So it wasn't like you were just slowly chipping away. Um, but yeah, down the stretch, I won my last five, or I won one, two, three, four. I won six in a row to finish 9-5, which is pretty good. Um, and then
You won six in a row? Shit.
you won five in a row, and that includes an 8-point win in week 11, a 6-point win in week 12, and a 12-point win in week 13. So had you just slipped up in one of those, even if with the point title, I would have gotten the bye. So
So you're welcome, league mates.
yeah, so it's been a good end of the season. Very similar to how I ended last season. The regular season, just won out in the regular season and then carried the momentum into the playoffs. And I'm hoping the same thing happens. I know 11 of the other 12 guys are not, but it sure make the championship more exciting if I made it.
Everyone would be tuned in, that's for sure. Um, whew, that'd be scary. I think it's only happened once, I think we decided, right? Was the Alaska Kelly matchup, 2018 or whatever that was.
Yeah, I'd have to go.
I feel pretty confident about that answer, but because I was working with him at Charter at the time, and I remember walking in, and his shift started before mine, and I remember seeing him at his desk, and then after he lost, coming in the next day and just like giving him a pat, like, dude, that was a tough beat, but god damn, I'm happy you lost.
Yeah, yeah, they both have had it happen.
Oh, really?
Alaska Alaska had a sick 3-year run. 2016, 2017, 2018. He went second, first, second.
Damn. Yeah.
But I think back then, I don't know if we ever established that the whole league resets or not. And then Kelly Dog had it happen. He had a sick run too. Um, 2020, 2021, 2022, he went 1-2-2. So those two have
Okay,
had,
so he's had the chance too. Okay.
yeah. So Kelly Dog and Alaska have both made it to the title. Now Alaska's was in, you know, the
Early
fifth week,
phases.
and Kelly Dog's is in the eighth. I don't know. I don't remember the exact year that we started the Empire. If we did it right in 2014, I feel like we did, but
That seems right because that was the auction draft probably, and then
Yeah.
2015 was the first in-person draft with keepers at my place, I think, if I recall correctly. But that's like 100 years ago now.
Yeah. So
Um, so fun stuff. You got a chance to repeat. That's exciting for you. I do got to call this out real quick. So looking at power rankings from week 0, so post draft, preseason, right? Sometimes it's a crapshoot. We've laughed before at the draft where we're like, we hope that someone ranks them 12 because they usually come up to the top and win. We actually, with our consensus ranking, had 5 out of the 6 in that made the playoffs out of our top 6 rankings. And yours were very good. You had Jenny at 1, JP 2, Hanrahan 3, you had yourself at 4, me at 5, and then Broik at 6.
yeah. So
I
I had,
mean,
had all 6 playoff teams
you
in
hit
my
all 6. I mean, that's elite.
Yeah, it's pretty elite. Now, did I see the rosters that we all have as part of that? No. I mean, even JP made a trade. JP doesn't make many trades.
Yeah. And then it's funny, we looked again into week 5, so a few weeks later, and we completely just butchered it. We had Costel in there, we had Laska in there, Mortel in there, making the playoffs, or at least in our top 6 power rankings. Um,
At least
kind of fun.
you had Laska ninth.
See, some of us had a voice of reason then.
Yours were much better in the middle of the season because you had me and Jenny
I
and
had you
your.
and Jenny in, yep.
You basically just had Mortel and Costel now, so you're 4 for 6 at that point. So that's not bad.
That's not bad. And then by the time we got to week 12, there was basically it was a 8 team race, and then we kind of nailed that for the most part. So kind of funny to look back at that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I'm gonna make a proposed rule to next year in this because I think we need to have our trade deadline before week 11. I think we had it going into week 12 this year. I think it needs to be before week 11. So there's 4 weeks left because I think that's still enough time to like things can shake up. Week 11 into 12, like just that one extra game does a lot to change of who's selling and who's buying.
So you're
But
saying it puts more pressure on the team to make a decision in week 11 instead of holding on hope.
yeah, like it just
But all devil's advocate for that is I felt like there was more trades this year than ever. Um,
yeah, there was, but that's just because Broik was competitive.
yeah, that's a good point. And Lawson's was selling early. Uh,
That's
so
just so. And Leon,
and Leon
you
sold early.
Leon never listens to these. There's no way he does. If he does, then awesome. But he should have never sold. He should have bought. He had a team that could have done some damage had he been aggressive instead of being not aggressive.
Yeah. Leon, I hope you listen and give Sean some shit for that comment.
That
I
was
know
good.
you sent us a video one time or a picture of you watching it on your big screen.
Oh yeah, right. One time,
One time.
he's like Kevin O'Donnell going down Cherry Hill. You beat Kevin O'Donnell on Cherry Hill one time.
One time. All right, so let's see here. There we go. Regular season, 13-1, hell of a record. I mean, congrats, Jenny. Let's just scroll down here. The points at force, nothing to be scared about. It's the least amount of points force amongst playoff qualifying teams. The points against, way, way, way below it. Not even 1,200 points. So some advantage there, but you got the bye. You're going to be in the final 4. That's fantastic. But, looking at the rest of this stuff, it wasn't like there was that big drama like we just talked about to kind of finalize the spots. There was a little bit of potential with shakeup in seedings in the last week or two, but the top 6 were almost locked in 2 weeks ago. And then, of course, we have to call out the last place finisher, Ryan Kelly. Kelly Dog, thanks for, you made 21 moves this year, so you were active. We appreciate that. Still got a lot to fight for in the losers bracket, as we'll talk about. But remind us, Shawnee, what's the punishment here?
So we don't have like a true punishment. We've just never been able to decide on something, and then we all got old and had kids, and so the punishments couldn't be anything too crazy. But we kind of decided on is the last place person. We kind of decided this last year at the draft, if you guys remember, they're kind of responsible for getting the plan for the draft set up. So that's if we, if the champion does not want to host, then last place will find an Airbnb and get that reserved, kind of line up our food items. Like we'll still all pay for it, we'll split it evenly, but last place is responsible for finding it, setting it up, and any other activities we decide to do, they probably have a part in. So, so if we keep golfing, I know Kelly Doug doesn't golf, so maybe some of us, maybe we can just make Alaska be the permanent golf figure outer.
Yeah, there we go.
But this, but yeah, so Kelly Dog, unfortunately, probably not the worst team. I mean, almost has, Lawson's probably just is the worst team based on points and points against. Like Kelly Dog, I mean, I used to have the most points scored against me, and then everyone just went from pooping on me to pooping on you. So you ended up like, look how many points you had against you. Like,
Yeah, I crept way up there.
things caught me. It kind of like it was almost like the law of averages returned because like for a while there it was just insane. Like I was just
Yeah.
getting pooped on, and then I think then I kind of got to play everyone after they had like traded away their teams because I got to play. I think I played Kelly, Lostness, Mortel, and Leon in like 4 of the last 5 weeks or something, which makes a big difference. Yeah, I finished up with not Leon, but I had Lostness, Mortel, and Kelly in 3 of my last 5 matchups, which is or yeah, 3 of my last 4 matchups. So that makes a big difference of when you play teams. But yeah, Kelly Dog gets the most points scored against too.
Maybe we maybe there has to be a prize for that moving forward. That's impressive. Um,
We'll call it the Bonnie Blue.
oh gee, yeah. I don't see why we wouldn't. That makes sense.
You had the most points scored in you.
All right, so let's take a look at the official playoff bracket. Buys determined, ready to go. Number 1 seed by record, the Fartellus Buttnuts, and then the Overhands with a 2 seed. And got some cool matchups, which we'll jump into here shortly. But 4-5 seed will be between Cool Runnings and Molar Bears. They'll move on to play uh, Jenny in the semis. And then we got Broik and Bauer, the old bros, the old boys, what is shinny hockey boys? What do you call each other?
Moose Lodge, baby.
Moose.
That was our squirt hockey team. We were the captains and just sick with it back then.
Pre-kidney loss.
Like I was 2 kidneys back then, baby.
Yeah, it's a different level power.
Now I just have 1 super kidney.
And it would have been fun to have another Commissioner's Cup, but I'm fine with beating you in the second round. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I get to face you. I got a tough matchup and some unfortunate circumstances right now. So
You know what? Let's talk about it. All right. Have you guys played each other this year? Sometimes it shows us. One time you kind of beat his butt there, but that was a while ago. But yeah, I was looking at this too, and you kind of have some unfortunate things going on. To call out the first one is Drake London. You brought up in the group chat, did Kelly sabotage trade him to you? And hasn't played since week 11. Could have used him, and now first week of the playoffs, he plays Thursday night. But guess what? He's out. He's not playing.
yeah,
That's got to feel bad.
yeah. The frustrating part too is like when I acquired him, he was playing good. I forget the exact week I acquired him, but I want to say it was like
October 7th.
Okay. So
So right around here.
I want to say like right when I acquired him, that's when he started just like going off because he was. I know like for a while there he was like wide receiver one over those specific weeks. So yeah, very unfortunate. Never got put on IR, so you never really thought the injury was that far. His coach has been saying he's been day to day for like 3 weeks. He can't be day to day if it's 21 days, dumbass. That's why your team sucks. But yeah, so he's out. That is a big hit. That is a wide receiver one not available. And then I have Woody Marks who kind of got banged up in that game against the Chiefs. He didn't practice today, which is Wednesday, due to a knee injury. Not sure really when
Oh, I had Woody Marks and I
you
dropped
had it,
him.
Woody, and you were just yeah.
Hey, that's like payback for a couple other people the last several years, right? Amon Ra and
I traded you Odell Beckham his rookie year.
Odell
Yeah,
Beckham.
next year it led to your championship, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that's really tough. And then I would say now it'll depend if our boy Philip Rivers starts and looks decent, but Jonathan Taylor loses his quarterback at Seattle as well. Ever since that 48-point game, he's faced some tough defenses.
Yeah, all three of these are good defenses.
Good defenses, and Seattle's a good defense. So it's like, he had a fumble in that game last week, so still had, an okay week, nothing to write home about, but
But
just
you're sitting at week 10 with what's going on here, and that you're like, dude, just get me to the playoffs, and I'm just gonna powerhouse people.
and he kind of yeah, and
Ugh,
that's I mean, unfortunately for me, him not live like you know, I think he's still running back one, or he's
yeah,
like, but he's like come way back down where it's like, if he's just getting me 15 to 20 points those couple of weeks, I'm right there with you for the point total, but he kind of just dropped. So I think those three players that's pretty tough. Now, where I am a little more excited is I have Bucky Irving back. Um, 2 weeks, 15 points each week. And last week was a weird one. It was a rainy game.
yeah.
They were just playing terrible. Now they get Atlanta tomorrow night, which he, had an okay game against them the first time, but Atlanta's kind of like given up on the year too. So
Yeah, when I was looking at this for the first time, I think some of these point totals for, projected wise are inflated
yeah,
for
I know.
certain guys. And then, but then, like, I think Woody Marks can have, I think he could way outscore 13.9 against
Yeah,
Arizona.
if he's good to go on Sunday, like I like him. I mean, they're giving him the most work. And so I like that. But I will say I'm gonna just like pat myself on the back here because if you count the amount of weeks of because I lost Malik Neighbors for the year, I lost Cam Scadaboo for the year, I lost Bucky Irving for half the year. Now I've missed Drake London, who I acquired. I got him for like 3 weeks, and he's been out. And so to make the playoffs with that amount of crap
Yeah.
is pretty impressive. And I gotta give a big shout out to Jonathan Taylor and Trey McBride and Jacoby Brissett because once he took over, Trey McBride turned into superstar.
He has been good. I was also a little worried about this Houston matchup as well. Another potential, slight jab to the kidney of potential points for your week. Houston is
Yeah,
just great.
Houston, they're a tough defense, but I also think like Arizona's gonna have to pass.
Yeah.
And sometimes Trey McBride, when it comes to their passing game, especially if their team's up, like they might be guarding against, the deeper throws, and that's where Trey McBride just eats it up. He's like, all right, I'll take 10-yard passes, and so we'll see. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan. I think I had the Texans D once upon a time, but just like, you can't hold on to. It's hard to hold on to defenses,
It is.
especially with our shorter benches. It's like, do I really want to like hold on to a defense or? But I got Brock Purdy in there instead of Jordan Love. Jordan Love's got a tough matchup, and Brock Purdy's got a very favorable matchup. Um, so I mean, I think Diggs. The only thing I do is I like Diggs. He's got revenge game against Buffalo again. Last time he played Buffalo, he had I don't think he scored a touchdown, but it was like a 10 reception, 100-yard game.
Oh yeah, big game.
So that was his biggest game of the year. So I'm a little hopeful there that he keeps that going. He's been quiet the last couple of weeks after looking like he had reestablished himself. So, yeah, I mean, some concerns. That's why I think the bye was super important for me. One, to get Drake London back. And then two, I think another storyline is, Chuba looked really good 2 weeks ago. Um, Kind of took over the backfield again, but then they had their
Yeah.
bye, so I didn't get to see I don't even get to see all right, is he back being the guy and Dowdle kind of supplementing, or is it 50-50? I just don't know. So, and then Bam Knight, he might be the starter, but he just kind of sucks.
Yeah,
Like,
all the people they keep talking. He's got a couple good, solid games, but
but
he's
it's not like other than the game against Tampa Bay, like his yards per carry is not good. He just gets a touchdown.
yeah, touchdowns help. Um, do you?
So
Yeah, so you maybe a decision between Chuba and Tet, or do you think this is pretty set?
I think this is pretty set. I think if Woody Marks for some reason is ruled out, then I think I go with Chuba in there. Or if there's like concerns about his workload, I think I just go with Chuba and hope that it's a lot of players to have. Carolina, which is a little scary, but I don't know. Not feeling the greatest. Why the bye was super important, just so I got that one extra week because it does sound like Drake London is going to play week 16. And then I get a little more clarity on Chuba, and all of a sudden, come the semifinals, if I were to be there, I'm feeling pretty good. But I also am facing a very tough opponent. You know, he doesn't have Burrow in, which I mean, it's hard to not start Drake May. Um, but Burrow's really good. But it's also one of those things where he's got two Bengals, so maybe he's just because if Burrow sucks, then Chase Brown and Jamar Chase probably suck, right?
Yeah, and last game against Buffalo, you only had 12 points. Burrow did, or Drake May did. Also, the interesting factor here is he has Drake May and you have Stephon Diggs too, right? So there's a potential to cancel some stuff out. But does he really want to start three Bengals?
But I will say Chase Brown, since Burrow's been back, has looked like the running back we all thought he was going to be.
Well,
Um,
basically since Joe Flacco came in, really.
yeah, I guess since they had a competent quarterback, he's been good. Um, he's pretty much guaranteed 15 points because he gets so much pass catching work. And then the scariest player between both teams, he has the two scariest players in my opinion. He's got Jahmyr Gibbs, who, as we've seen, can go off at any moment. Almost 50 points against the Giants a few weeks ago.
Hey, oh, look at this. It's been every other week. 35, 4, 36, 17, 49, then 10. Maybe it's the down week.
Yeah, I mean, obviously hopeful, but like I just think with where Detroit is record wise, with Dan Campbell back, kind of in charge of the offense, I think you're going to see a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm hoping the
That's a
Rams.
th
Defense,
3 o'clock game.
that's going to be an awesome game. I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward to that one. And then Jamar Chase, he's not quite as scary as like Tyreek Hill was,
Yeah.
but he can. I mean, even when he had terrible quarterbacks, 29, 26, 30, like he can. I mean, he's so good. Last time they played Baltimore, he had a good game, just didn't get a touchdown. So little scared there. Chris Olave, I think his targets have gone down a little bit since Shook has really taken over. Still not bad, but not 13, 10, 14, 11, 10 like he had when he had Rattler in there. So But he's a good player. They're playing Carolina. Should be a competitive game because I think the Saints have shown they're better than I think we all thought they were just going to suck, and
Yeah, they've been
they've
fine. They've
been,
been
they've
good.
been competitive. Which now that they don't have Sean Payton anymore, I don't hate them as much. So then you got Fergie, who's he's just a jag. He's just a guy. Like
Yeah, it really is. Like it was his stats are inflated when CeeDee Lamb went out and he was getting a lot more targets, a lot more touchdowns, obviously. But ever since then, hasn't had a game over 10 points, over 9.6. So
he's also kind of one of those players though, where he's on the Cowboys offense. Now they're playing the Vikings this week, and depends which Vikings show up. If it's last week's Vikings, maybe he gets some work. If it's the Vikings the previous 4 weeks where they look like they've never played football before,
well,
maybe
even like the Vikings defense against like Seattle, like they held
yeah,
they held
the
their
Vikings
offense,
defense
their
holds their
defense.
own, but
Yeah.
at some point does the Vikings defense just like get frustrated and just like lay, you know. So
It'll
we'll
be
see.
interesting. Like CeeDee Lamb's in concussion protocol. I don't know the latest on him. Sound like he was progressing okay.
And that'll be a big storyline because if CD is out, then we
Yeah,
saw what
Ferguson.
Ferguson did when CD wasn't in there. So that's a good point. And then he goes Amika Egbuka, who kind of cooled off since a really hot start. 4 weeks in a row of just and that's all kind
It's
of
getting decent targets. Just the receptions are down. I think Baker's
yeah.
been a little banged up and not as accurate.
Yeah, I heard a stat the other day that he's getting a lot of targets, but he also has the highest percentage of non-catchable targets. So it's just
And those are hard to catch.
those are very hard to get. Baker's been off. Their offensive line's been banged up. Sounds like Mike Evans might be back this week, which is crazy. Good sneaky pickup by freaking Jenny, although I think he was always on Jenny's team, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But also Jalen McMillan might be back, so maybe that frees up Egbuka because he's not getting the main stuff. But maybe it's also there's so many more targets to spread the ball around, it hurts him. We shall see. But when Cortland Sutton going against the Green Bay defense, Broik doesn't have a ton of other options. He Cortland Sutton's been fine. He's always kind of one of those players that always leaves you wanting more.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you like see him and he's talented, he's big, but I don't know, for whatever reason he just never can be the dude. Maybe it's just he's just a good player, not a great. But we'll see. He got a tough matchup with Green Bay. The Packers defense is legit. Their corners, I think are good. I think they just get a lot of help because they rush the passer so well that teams have to throw the ball quicker. So. And then he's got the Texans D going against Arizona. Jacoby Brissett is great, but he will turn the ball over. And then the Texans just get so many sacks. They love sacks. So I don't know. I think it's a pretty even matchup. I think Broik, I would say, is a slight favorite, simply because of Drake London being out. I think if Drake London was in my lineup, I think I'd give the edge to myself. But I think the key for Broik is going to be, I think it's going to be Gibbs and Chase. Like he needs those guys to be, 25 points. And I think for me, I need Jonathan Taylor to have a bounce back week.
Yeah.
I think everyone else is pretty much they are who they are. If Tet McMillan decides to have a big game, that'd be huge too. He's kind of been solid, and it looked like for a couple weeks he was really breaking out, and then he went to 1 week where he basically just caught one pass as a 40-yard touchdown, which is great, but that's the only pass he caught. And it's like, all right, so.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be lower projected than it is. I think this could be like a 105 to 103 type game. And I think we got Bucky versus Ibuka against Atlanta on Thursday, tomorrow night. Um, And then you got Ferguson is the Sunday night game because you're done after the 3 o'clock games on Sunday.
Yeah, so he'll have Ferguson, so we'll know either one he'll have already wrapped it up and he's good to go, or we'll know how many points Ferguson needs.
Yeah,
So
and I do think it's going to come down to that because I could see a world where you're up by 4 or 5 and you need Fergie to get just a little bit. So I think this is going to be super tight. Um, I am gonna give my initial thought was to give you the edge because I think Woody Marks could have his like premier game of the year, and get 2 touchdowns and 120 yards, and that would be a huge bump, obviously. Um, so I like you by a couple, but it's tight as hell.
yeah, I think it's very close. I think, like I said, he's got the two scary players. I think I have some better matchups, and so we'll see. It'll be a fun one. The two guys that text the most will just be fucking shit talking each other.
That'll be great. That'll be a good one. Can't wait. All right, so we shift gears to the next matchup, the 4 and 5 seed, and let's see, they played week 11. Cool Runnings got the W here, and you know JP known for the receivers, and Amon Ra he came back last. He was it last week he was gonna miss, and then he played, so he's healthy. That's great to see. And then Puka, I think he played football last week a little bit. He had finally got in the end zone a couple times. So love to see that for him, right? Like that he's super powered by those folks. Love that he has George Kittle in here. That move I think is a big deal. Um, uh, Tennessee is certainly susceptible to getting scored on, so you love that for him. But overall, I mean, this is another projected to be another tight matchup here. Um, any initial thoughts between these two squads?
Yeah, I mean, let's start with Hanahan. He unfortunately just losing to you cost him a bye. Um, but points scored wise, this is probably right where he belonged. Not getting the bye, playing the first round. Definitely a playoff team. A guy who, if he wins it, it could be kind of scary because he didn't make any trades.
Right.
You clicked on JP's team there, bud.
Oh, here we go.
There you go. So, Matt Stafford has been unreal. And that kind of cancels out Puka, right?
Yeah, that's a
So,
good point. Yeah.
and Puka also kind of cancels out Stafford. So I think that's a big part of this matchup is Hanahan's guys got to hope that he's throwing the ball to, Devontae Adams, right? Or it's a Kyron Williams show or something.
Yeah.
And then, Nico Collins. Actually, didn't mean to click. I didn't mean Nico Collins. AJ Brown has been, Hanahan's team kind of had a little lull there, but AJ Brown has started to turn it on.
Yeah.
He had done fucking besides like 2 games, he had done dick all year. And then now all of a sudden he's like figuring it out. Now they've lost all 3 of those games that he's gone off. So maybe the Eagles are like, well, we got to stop throwing to AJ Brown because we lose. But so I think he's a key matchup. It's interesting that he had the Lamar Derrick Henry stack, and just Lamar has not. I know he got injured, but he has not been the Lamar of old. Besides
No, he
week
finally had an
1,
okay week last week, but yeah, he's been just kind of putzing along.
and it's really hard to not play Lamar just because his ceiling is so much higher than just about any other quarterback besides Josh Allen. But he's making the right play. Um, yeah, I like this more than what you were looking at. Um, so I think Jalen Warren is just a sneaky, solid player. He's not going to wow you, but he's kind of just like a
Super
safe.
consistent. Yeah, safe.
You're probably guaranteed at least 10 points with him. So nothing to, Terry McLaurin is kind of a
Kind of surging
intriguing,
up.
and he's back healthy. Against Denver, they had Mariota, 19 points. Comes and plays the Vikings. He has Daniels for at least most of the game. Nothing. And then the Commanders just quit in that game. It was awesome to watch in person.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. You were there.
and Nico Collins, he still hasn't had his like boom game this year. Like last year before he got hurt, I think he was wide receiver one.
Yeah, he was ripping.
And he's had some good games. I'm not saying he hasn't had good games, like 7 for 136, 5 for 98. He only has 4 touchdowns on the year. Um, he looked pretty dang good against Kansas City last week. Like, could he have his big boom game one of these times, where he gets that 23, 24 points? We'll
Well,
see.
Arizona is a good team to do it against.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, he's a scary player because he could go off at any moment. Javonte Williams, he's kind of like a Jalen Warren. Like, he's just solid. He's pretty touchdown dependent, but he's pretty much a guaranteed like 10 points every week. Hasn't like gone off since really early in the season. But that's that's touchdowns. So just a solid player. So Hanahan, I feel like the way his team is constructed right now, I feel like he's a high floor kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Derrick Henry, you never know with him. Is the Yeti? Is it snowing in Vermont? We don't know.
I don't know. Been
But
a
if
lot
it
of snow
is,
lately.
watch out. So yes, I mean, and I feel like the last few weeks his team has. I think it's because of AJ Brown. They've really started to come together. I mean, I know they lost the bye to you, but I also feel like he's been playing his best football of late. Yeah, 106 points last week, 128 the week before, 120, 108.
Yeah.
Last 4 weeks looking good. Because so good solid team. I feel like he's just quiet. He doesn't really text in the group chat. So he's just kind of like a quiet assassin, but always in the mix. I feel like he's always rarely does he ever, I feel like, just like tank. He's just kind of always like, I'm in the playoffs, or like I just missed out. So
Well, he's a former champion, I believe, right?
yeah, he's won a title, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
like his
But yeah, it's always kind of quiet. Like, yeah, oh yeah, oh he's in the semifinals. Oh, okay, yeah. No, like you said, no trades either. Just kind of stuck with the squad, and
yeah, he hasn't finished worse than seventh since 2019.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, it's so funny because he'll show up to the draft and he'll be like, "Fuck, I haven't looked at anything yet."
Like there was a stand there where he would go, he won the first year, then took last place, then took third, then 11th, then fourth, then 10th, then second. It was very like polarizing. And then since then, it's been like second, fourth, seventh, fifth, seventh, at least the top 6 here.
Yeah,
Um, so we'll see. And then I think JP, JP has one of the scariest teams in my opinion. Um, so I think Mahomes had a terrible game last week, but this is like do or die for them. They lose this, they are officially done, right?
yeah,
He won against a good defense, but he did put up 26 points the last time he played this team. So it's at home, and their run game has been kind of non-existent. So I have a feeling Mahomes is gonna have a big game. Puka, like we kind of mentioned, Puka and Stafford. I think that's an advantage to Hanrahan. Usually, I give the advantage to the guy with the receiver that has the receiver. But I think just to because yeah, Puka could go off, but Stafford's getting points there too.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's gonna be able to nullify at least what more than
nullify it.
half his points.
Amon Ra is a huge, huge portion. Obviously, he's been even missing a week there. He's the wide receiver 4 on the year. He's pretty much had like 2 dud games this year, and then everything else. I mean, the Kansas City game wasn't great, but everything else is like 14 points, 12,
Yeah.
14 points, right? So I think and then his wild card, he's got Devin Singletary in there.
Well, it's
Who
too
was,
bad because he lost T Higgins, right, with his
yeah.
concussion, so he's already ruled out. So that's a big deal because he's been for the most part, and he missed a game for another concussion, right? The Baltimore game.
Yeah, then he goes
Um,
off against Buffalo, but probably shouldn't have been playing in that game.
right. So that's a big hit. Like when we talk about him, when we talked about him previously, was like Amon Ra, Puka, Higgins, like Mahomes, like solid running backs. But now without that, this definitely makes this matchup a lot tighter.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because he's having to go Singletary and Zay Flowers, and
Now
Singletary, I literally.
Singletary, he's isn't what's his name out?
Well, see, that's what
Um,
I didn't know. I dropped Singletary a couple of weeks ago.
you did, yeah, yeah. $14 got him on the squad, but Tyrone Tracy, I think is gonna miss again,
Yeah, and
and
so obviously I'm kicking myself for dropping him, but it kind of looked like he had lost. Like, I think I played him the one week where he had 2 touchdowns against the Packers, and then
yeah,
he like, just didn't do dick against Detroit, and Tracy had kind of taken more carries, and then he had New England to buy, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna drop him because I don't think he's gonna be worth as much. And then, of course, Tracy gets hurt in that game against the Patriots, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
yeah.
But
So
yeah,
that's a
so
nice fill in there.
nice fill in, and then Zay Flowers. Uh, I'm pretty sure when JP and I played each other, he had negative points. Yeah, he did. Because he fumbled. But he's the type of guy where he's like that, 8 for 124 against Pittsburgh. Like he can put together those high reception games for you.
Yeah.
Um, but the key for JP is going to come down to those running backs. His receivers are very good. Brees Hall, questionable. Not sure what that's about, but he's kind of been just a weird player. But the Jets are just a freaking disaster.
Knee soreness, two more chances to practice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kenny Wongmu making an appearance there, but
Yeah.
he hasn't. I mean, he's just going. He's just a pure volume guy because he's not. 3 yards a rush, 3.6 yards a carry, 2.8. He had a couple. He had a nice run there in the middle of the year, and he's a good pass catching back, but 4 for 75, 5 for 30, 4 for 31. So he's kind of a wild card.
He is. Yeah, you wouldn't be shocked if he scored 25 points, and you wouldn't be shocked if he scored
He's
five.
not. His problem is he just doesn't provide a lot of consistency for you, which is
Yeah.
so it's tough. Um, but obviously you play him just because the ceiling's high. And then you got ETN, who he's just weird. He's been
But I
good.
mean, damn, I mean, pretty
He's
good.
been good the last. Yeah, but then you look at that, like he had like a stretch there where it was like 7, 7, 6. It's what the fuck? Like he's just a weird running back. I don't know how else to describe him.
Yeah, well, let's see. I mean, pretty good defenses there. Kansas City, Seattle Rams, Jets. Hard to say I mean, I think you can traditionally you can run on the Jets is the thing, right? But now no, they don't, the Jets are just weird. But he could potentially, I mean, Jacksonville's been playing pretty good ball. They need to
Yeah,
keep winning.
yeah. So I think for JP, it'll come down to his running backs. If Hall and ETN perform, I think it's going to be lights out for Hanahan. And for Hanahan, I think it's going to come down to AJ Brown, Nico Collins, like his two big wideouts.
Yeah, or if Derrick Henry can get a beast game. I looked at the weather in Cincinnati. It's going to be cold. It's going to be like
Not you don't look in Cincinnati. You got to look what the weather is like in Vermont.
I know Vermont. If it's snowing in Vermont, then the Yeti is alive. But also, sometimes in these cold weather games, you get Derrick Henry late in the third quarter into the fourth, and he just starts. People don't want to tackle him.
One wants to tackle him.
So he breaks off a couple touchdowns. But I give the edge here to JP. I think it's just a little more consistency, a little more firepower. But as you mentioned, there's enough to like on the Hanahan side to make this matchup potentially interesting. I want to just go back to here real quick to see if we got any Sunday night or Monday night. JP will be wrapped up just like you by Sunday after the 3 o'clock games, it looks like. And then we got Javante Williams going Sunday night. And then we got a Monday Jalen Warren.
So that one's gonna be like I said, Hanahan could have it wrapped up and just get to cruise into it, or he could have like two very stressful football watchings. which he probably won't watch. He'll probably be like up in a mountain in Minnesota somehow.
Yeah, very well could be.
But yeah, so then I like I said, I give the edge to JP, and I give a slight edge to Broik. Um, and then then we get to let's just go take a look at the second round if it lets you, just to see like what you and doesn't let you look at it.
Well, if we go to
You can just go to like each of your teams and just look at the schedules you have for week 16. So we got Jenny, who's got Josh Allen going against Cleveland. It's a tough matchup.
yeah, on the
CMC,
road, yeah.
CMC's he's too good. He's matchup doesn't matter. He gets so many just like dump offs. Hampton's back. He looks pretty good going against the Cowboys defense that is susceptible. Devontae Adams, a Thursday night game. He's kind of just a touchdown machine in the red zone. Justin Jefferson, not sure if he'll be starting by then. We'll see.
Jeez,
Um,
I mean Jefferson at 25 on the year. I mean, you just look at like the last several games, and you just never think this is even possible.
yeah.
Hasn't been over 10 points since
Well,
week
after
9.
2 weeks combined, he has 4 receptions for 15 yards.
It's just like, how has that even happened?
So he's just scary. Marvin Harrison should be back. I mean, as long as he gets through this week, should be back healthy. He's looked better with Jacoby Brissett. And old Mike Evans,
He's going tomorrow, isn't he?
supposedly going this week. So I think that's the advantage of having the bye. You get to see what he looks like, and
Yeah.
maybe he gets to shake off some rust. Does Kamara return? Because I think if Kamara returns, then I think Jefferson's probably on the bench, which is crazy to think. But
Well, yeah, you probably put one of those two in. Now, is this a violation? We got a questionable
no,
in the
I
IR.
think it's because he has been out.
Okay, so you can kind of sit there until
Yeah,
game time.
ESPN really has dumb rules. I don't think other platforms allow that. Like they let you do it when they're out, but then as soon as it's like the next week and they're listed as questionable or something, I think you have to move them off. But ESPN kind of goofy like that. Next year we need to make a note just to get rid of that second IR spot so people like Leon and Laska aren't tempted.
Oh yeah, we gotta. Yeah, I keep because you can't do it during the regular season or
Nope.
during the season. So, anyways,
But yeah, so I mean I think Jenny's got some good matchups, and like I said, there'll be Justin Jefferson does have a good matchup. So maybe he plays him, but we'll see. And he's got the Falcons defense, so that's bold
but
strategy there, Scott.
you got the Seahawks
Yeah,
too,
they're going
but they
against
play
the
the Rams. But yeah, interesting. Falcons. Okay, okay.
he must be holding on to the Falcons defense for the championship that he's not going to make.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
All right, one more team to look at here.
We got the Overhands, who, in my opinion, you are the favorite. Your team is. You have a tough matchup with the Cowboys.
Yeah,
CeeDee Lamb's health is going to be paramount. I assume he'd be out of concussion protocol if he doesn't go this week, next week. But the only thing you have to worry about is if he does play this week and something were to happen.
oh yeah, and yeah. Kind of hope he sits
That
out.
wouldn't just hurt CeeDee, but that would hurt Dak.
Yeah,
Um, HN, he's probably been the most consistent running back all year. He's been great. Kyron, you know what you're going to get from him. He's kind of, a tough matchup against Seattle, but he's kind of matchup proof because he's just a goal line.
they just get it. He'll get a touchdown. Yeah.
JSN, you're unless he's playing the Vikings, you're starting him. Tyler Warren's a little worrisome just because you don't
Yeah,
know what their quarterback's going to be.
Yeah, definitely been worried about that. He's not like it's not, he's a tight end four, but it's not like it's been electric. It's just kind of he had some nice games in the middle of the year, but it's kind of slowed down, and now the quarterback situation is scary.
Yeah,
Might have to make a waiver claim. We'll see.
it also just shows so much about the tight end position, like
Yeah.
the difference between the elite guys and even like what people say is like a good tight end is just so different.
Yeah.
It's why when you can get your hands on one of those elite guys, it's a huge advantage. And yeah, then you have the two like biggest wild cards, Brian Thomas especially, who's been a huge disappointment.
Yeah, first round pick kind of sucked. He came back from injury, had an okay game last week.
Yeah,
He's gonna have a tough matchup in week 16.
goes
So we'll
yeah.
see about all that.
And then you got Jamison Williams, who's kind of this. He's been pretty dang good. He just but
These zeros
he did
scare
have
you.
a 0 and a 0 there, but then he has 13, 23. So it's like he's really good, and they'll be playing Pittsburgh, who's you can get by Pittsburgh, and
Yeah.
they said Detroit's playing for their lives right now, so that also helps. And if you play a Debo, you have some options there. Kareem Hunt has kind of been the best Kansas City running back. So if you're
Just
looking
like
for,
randomly getting touchdowns for no reason. Yeah.
yeah, he's not terrible.
No.
Honestly, he should probably just be the lead back there, but for some reason they still like Pacheco. So yeah, then you got a 49ers D going against potentially a Brett Rippin Farts led offense or maybe a Phil Rivers.
I think a few sacks are possible there. Yeah, I think I spent some cash on him.
I think
19
you did.
bucks
19.
for that matchup. But yeah, I don't love some of these matchups here, and I don't love what's going on with Tyler Warren. Um, but
Who knows?
you
Maybe
know,
you get Philip Rivers in there, and all of a sudden it's like Rivers to Gates.
yeah, all over again. You never know. So
And then I'll have Jonathan Taylor, and he'll be Ladainian Tomlinson. But yeah, so I think if like I said, I think you're the betting favorite. Um, I think Broik has the toughest road, just because he has to. If he wins this week and then beats you, he'll have to go through the top two scoring teams just to get to the championship.
yeah,
Um, so pretty tough route there. Um, obviously Jenny just needs to win once. I think he would rather play Hanrahan, but I don't think it's like a just mostly because Hanrahan has Stafford, so Jenny can kind of negate some of his points with Devonte Adams. But yeah, but I think you're the favorite. I think that top side of the bracket, like I said, I think JP's the top team of those three, but he has to win this week first. And if obviously I want to win, I think I have a good shot. If I can get through this week, I'm gonna feel much more confident because I get Drake London back. But if I don't win, I'm kind of pulling for Broik. So because he's the only one in the playoffs that hasn't won a championship. So sorry, co-commissioner, but
no,
if I
it's fair. It's he's
if I lose, I'm gonna be rooting for the snorkelers. Um,
yeah. If you lose to the Snorkelers and they beat me, I would cheer for them too, because he's kind of the lifeblood of the group chat, and you know I always cheer for a guy like Adam Broik. So
will say he gets a BTB on the BTBs this year though.
I was thinking about that the other day. I missed the BTBs.
I miss him too.
There's fun. Yeah, any content in the league is good content, whether it's someone just talking shit or writing up something like a BTB, doing the things that we do. Um, but yeah, definitely is missed. Maybe something to
Yeah. My
get back
dream
on track.
scenario though is I make it to the championship and I face Jenny and then I hand him his second loss of the year and I would have handed him both losses and I get on top of it. Oh,
Yeah, poetic justice.
and I will never let him hear the end of it either, and he knows it.
He might just leave the league at that point.
He's gonna go crawl into his Florida cave.
Quick pivot. Everyone already knows, but just to call it out, your season's not over. Far from
Yeah,
over.
season's not over. You're competing for draft picks. Once again, there's no head-to-head matchups. It's just 3-week point total. Wherever you finish is where your first round draft pick is, and then everything after the first round goes back to the normal snake. Interestingly enough, Lostness owns Costell's first round pick. So Lostness has the potential to own the top 2 picks in the draft next year, along with having 3 second round picks. So could be the early season favorite
Early favorite over there.
if I do not win the Empire pot. So we shall see. I think Laska and Costell have the 2 best teams there. I don't think it's particularly close. If I had to guess, I'm going to go Costell 1, Laska 2, Leon 3. And then I'm going to go Kelly 4, Mortel 5, Lostness 6. So that
Interesting.
Lostness would own the first and 6th overall picks. Depending on who loses in the first, because the losers in the first round obviously move to the losers bracket and they get 2 weeks to try to catch anyone. I could see someone hopping up into the top 5.
Yeah, if you or I mean any of these four really, if they
I think the two I think Lostness and Martell and Kelly Dogs teams are, because they acquired picks and they sold. I think they're pretty brutal. So
yeah,
I don't think Costell and Laska are catchable, and Leon. So I've been higher on Leon's team than anyone, and I
yeah.
think he's just gonna be fine. I think he'll just be right up there and be safe. But the other 3 will be in danger.
And that's it. That's the breakdown, my friend. So it's it's just so funny how fast it goes. And another year is gonna be completed. A new champion is gonna be crowned, maybe an empire first of all
Maybe
time.
it'll be sweet.
Be sweet for you, no one else. But yeah, and then whoever, if you don't win, then we have a new person on the throne that gets all the hate all year, right? And that's a big deal too. If you
Yeah.
had to reflect back now that you've been in this position, like was it kind of what you thought it'd be, less intense, more intense? Have you felt the effects, I guess is the first question.
No, not really. I mean, when I was reaching out for trades, I did.
Yeah.
Some people were like open to it, and then like all of a sudden they realized like who I was and what I was trying to do, and then I was like, yeah, I'm not. It was either like straight up like I'm not trading with you, or it was like that's going to cost you more than that, which is fair. That's how it
Okay.
should be. But I just went out of my way. I mean, I think it's just because he's the only Packer fan in the group, but Laska got so much more shit than I did,
He
so.
did. He did.
Um, and it's also because I'm the co-commissioner and we do these things, and so people are like, you know what, he's an alright guy.
Not
Uh,
that Alaska isn't likable, but you're awfully likable.
Alaska's likable. Like I said, I think it's just because he's a Packer fan.
Yeah, that's a big
If he's a
factor.
Vikings fan, he'd get half the shit that he gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't felt too bad. I think this week will be the first time where it's like
Yeah.
everyone's rooting against me. So we shall see.
And it starts tomorrow night, baby. I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, we gotta. I mean, it's not a good game because the Falcons suck, but like fantasy wise, you got like me and Broik's match. We got Bucky and Agbuka. So that's big. No Bijan in the playoffs, and no Baker in the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah,
Pretty much those are the only 2 like Falcons and uh, Tampa Bay players in play that I can think of. So
yeah.
it'll be fun. Me and Broik, we're just gonna blow up the group chat, just talking shit to each other. Alaska will get all these texts like 2 days later because he just didn't want to have the phone store just transfer his phone properly, and now he's just messed up his phone forever.
Oh, it's too bad, but it's kind of hilarious.
Yeah. I'm a little bummed that I don't have anyone in that Cowboys Vikings game. So maybe I can make a trade quick so I can get someone. Or maybe I'll just go drop someone and start like Turpin
Just to have some action.
just to have a little action in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, go Philip Rivers.
Go Phil.
You know, it'd be like an inspiration to all of us guys as we're getting a little bit older that anything's possible, right?
Yeah, I mean, I still got my NCAA eligibility, so
Yeah. Can't rule it out. All right. Good luck, everybody, except for Sean. I suppose I have to say that it's a law, but you know, I love you, buddy. But good luck, everybody. It's going to be a fun ride.